Sure, I'm Israel. Do you believe in ghosts? I do. 2 years ago, man, I had no hopes. I had no goals. I had nothing to live for. I had nothing to fight for until I met the Isupk, man. You know what I'm saying? I was walking around these streets dead, man. You understand? But I got with the Isupk and I got my life right, man. I rose from that dead, man. You understand? And you can do it too, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. I was 6 feet below. I was down. I was prone. I wasn't dead, but I wasn't woke. The old me died, now I'm back like ghost. Tried to escape, nowhere to go. Doing bad, I couldn't cope. I went to class, 10-toe. You became made, ready for the woe. I was 6 feet below. I was down. I was prone. I wasn't dead, but I wasn't woke. The old me died, now I'm back like ghost. Tried to escape, nowhere to go. Doing bad, I couldn't cope. I went to class, 10-toe. You became made, ready for the woe.
One West, fuck the rest. Military status like a fucking vet. War scar, bulletproof vest. Take grind on some army shit. Kentucky 8, fuck up your clique. Clear the scene when I wave my wrist. At the camp place and I'ma get a boot kiss. Pull up and hop out, face in the wind. Young Hebrews steady making moves. Attitude booze so the cat trying to sue. Home with a truth, nigga, who the fuck is you? The Lord is with us, how the hell we gon' lose? All cuts country, Google the stats. UBK One West, get in the bag. Cool part bitch, me rise from the ass. Oppressor make a wise man mad.
And destroy the heart, that's what a gift do. So nothing but the truth is what I give you. Like you better start repenting, follow all his commandments. If you don't, then the Lord gon' kill you. See, I was born in the darkness. By the time I seen the light, I was already a man. Used to think I knew about God and the devil good and evil, but really I just didn't understand. See, I thought I was alive, but really I was dead. Found One West, I was born again. Made my oath before the Lord. Now my life belongs to him. Ready for the war, you know I am. Drop my sword, bitch, a beat, goddamn. See, I'm on West to the death, to my very last breath. Motherfucker, that's who I am.
I was 6 feet below. I was down. I was prone. I wasn't dead, but I wasn't woke. The old me died, now I'm back like ghost. Tried to escape, nowhere to go. Doing bad, I couldn't cope. I went to class, 10-toe. You became made, ready for the woe. I was 6 feet below. I was down. I was prone. I wasn't dead, but I wasn't woke. The old me died, now I'm back like ghost. Tried to escape, nowhere to go. Doing bad, I couldn't cope. I went to class, 10-toe. You became made, ready for the woe.
College football is back. The tradition.
All my niggas ride for me. I got niggas that'll die for me. You niggas ain't built like that. Run around talking like a thug when you won't bust a slug, man. Niggas get killed like that. Acting like you bang for the set when you ain't blood or cuz, man. Blood'll get spilled like that. Niggas saying really they the plug, but they talking to the judge, man. Get your cap built like that. Cause niggas get killed like that. When you ain't built like that. You niggas ain't built like that. You was never on the block, you ain't never dodge a knock. You ain't never fought another crew holding down the park. You ain't swam with the sharks, you ain't wrestled with the gators. You was never fucking popping, you ain't got no fucking haters. Bitch, niggas like you make me watch out for the traitors. When you round some real niggas, mind your behavior. I will beat a nigga ass, then I'm laughing like I'm Jada. Get your fucking mind blown like a cartridge on a Sega. You niggas want attention, they don't want the war though. Talking all that shit, but you got a glass jaw. Ho, they never deliver. They got that DiGiorno. This that Walking Dead flow. I eat a rapper torso. You ain't the same man once you off the microphone. You ain't never broke a bone. You ain't never had a scar. You a certified pussy, so don't make me pull your card. I'm a certified prophet, respected like the word of God. Cause you ain't got the heart, nigga. You ain't got the heart. You ain't about to finish any beef that you start. You ain't never been a soldier, little nigga. Play your part. Claiming that you'll spark when you ain't got the heart. Cause you niggas ain't built like that. Run around talking like a thug when you go and bust a slug, man. Niggas get killed like that. Acting like you bang for the set when you ain't blood or cuz, man. Blood'll get spilt like that. Niggas saying really they the plug, but they talking to the judge, man. Get your cap peeled like that. Cause niggas get killed like that. When you ain't built like that. Run around talking like a thug when you go and bust a slug, man. Niggas get killed like that. Acting like you bang for the set when you ain't blood or cuz, man. Blood'll get spilled like that. Niggas saying really they the plug, but they talking to the judge, man. Get your cap peeled like that. Cause niggas get killed like that. All my niggas ride for me. All my niggas ride with me. I got niggas that'll die for me. All my niggas ride with me. You niggas ain't.
When you look at life, there's only one truth, not multiple truths. That means truth ain't even true. You understand? And what is that truth? That the lost 12 tribes of Israel shall reign on earth, man. You understand me? We need hope, and we got it. Let's go.
When them warriors come out, endure to the end, it's for the blood of my eye. I'm talking about protectors of the people, black watch. Cry out, spare not one, where's my casket drop? When them warriors come out, baptized through the fire, you a coward, you won't make it out. And fuck the Christian church, you bitches falling off. It's real together, the no finish out. Oppression make a wise man mad, so I put on.
Ha ha! One West, bitch. You know what it is. 1969, home of the truth. And if you ain't UPK, you in the motherfucking way. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Harlem, New York, 125th Street. How you mention UPK and didn't mention me? We the home of the truth, bitch, nigga, what you mean? How you mention One West and didn't mention me? No excuses, no cowards, only soldiers roll with me. How you mention UPK and didn't mention me? 144,000 are prepared to serve the king. How you mention One West and didn't mention me? Look, I eat, sleep, shit, breathe, UPK every day. Get about that Christian church. One West is the only way for righteous leadership and brotherhood. This the only place. A lot of people say they got it, but we know them bitches fake. So I'll be One West to the death, to the end. UPK versus everybody. All we do is win. Undefeated since 69. Pussy, try again. I'll be damned if we ever lose to the likes of them. Commander Junior Honor ain't no coward. You know who he is. Hold on to this truth with no excuse. That's what he did. Showed us how to build a nation every day. We put in brick. Get that all put on her head and take an oath to never quit. And I mean that shit. Every word that I'm saying. If you cross the fucking line, I'ma show you I ain't playing. And I stay war ready. Every word that we hanging. And I still rock my shield of David like I'm gang banging. Bitch, we Harlem, New York, 125th Street. How you mention UPK and didn't mention me? We the home of the truth, bitch, nigga, what you mean? How you mention One West and didn't mention me? No excuses, no cowards, only soldiers roll with me. How you mention UPK and didn't mention me? 144,000 are prepared to serve the king. How you mention One West and didn't mention me?
Never back down, I'm just
Smoking on the order so I can take right. And we will never back down.
Hey, Garmin with his heat.
Hey, V, line them up.
Bitch, I'm holy. These niggas don't know me. I don't fuck with the police. That would die in the rollie. Holy. Swing the block with a 40. UPK, I die for it. Fake groups having noise. These niggas ain't holy. These niggas don't know me. I don't fuck with the police. That would die in the rollie. Holy. Swing the block with a 40. UPK, I die for it. Fake groups having noise. These niggas ain't holy. These niggas ain't holy. Watch out, these niggas phony. I heard them boys snitching, probably gonna tell on me. It's time to break these boys off. Home of the truth, can we follow every law? These niggas wanna be you, these niggas can't see you. Raised by righteous leaders, one West when you see you. Black boots, war scar, black Nina. Nigga, I'm heated, motherfuckers still sleeping. These niggas ride with heathen, UPK still teaching. No matter what season, take ground, give me a reason. 1969, cross the line, lose your mind. Why you wanna lose your eye? Do it for the Prince of Power, under General Yohana. Already no problem, won't smoke, got goblin. My niggas like piranha, and we told them chopper. These niggas need a doctor.
Hey, V, line them up.
Bitch, I'm holy. These niggas don't know me. I don't fuck with the police. That would die in the rollie. Holy. Swing the block with a 40. UPK, I die for it. Fake groups having noise. These niggas ain't holy. These niggas don't know me. I don't fuck with the police. That would die in the rollie. Holy. Swing the block with a 40. UPK, I die for it. Fake groups having noise. These niggas ain't holy.
I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil.
I remember I was only 13 when I met the demon. Gave me a deuce and a bundle of cocaine. Told me to sell to my people, make sure you keep them fiending. If any try to shoot you, make sure that you leave him leaking. He said,
I'ma hold you down when problems pop up.
how you got me moving this dope? Want me in lockup? He said,
Don't you want the Benz vertible with the top cut?
Yeah.
Stop, bitch, and get in that kitchen. Let it rock up. Bitches love the dope boy, especially when it's wop up. I know you know Ron.
who the plug from by the block up?
I'll tell you a little secret. Make sure that you keep your mouth shut. Ron got a Lexus, crib in Philly and Texas. Trips to the Bahamas, just got a whip for his mama. He fucking up them commas. Be honest, he seeing decent though.
I hear you, but I just seen Ron about a week ago. In fact, he ain't looking too good. His knees is kind of slow. I asked him why the struggle. He got stuck up for his bundle, but them 6 hollow tips in his legs what made him crumble.
Bitch, he got a house and mama is living good.
Said the feds took it all. He right back in the hood. I see you try to play me. You gave us crack in the 80s. Made us abort our babies and making hoes out our ladies. I know you got me gravy, but Satan, you must be crazy. It's gonna take more of them cars when to amaze me. I seen niggas shoot for the stars, but being lazy. Never get their head at the clouds, so you don't faze me.
I guarantee that you gon' regret it. Remember I said it.
Nah, you could dead it.
What you saying? I can't win?
Nah, devil, nice try. So until we meet again.
I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't religious or superstitious, But we've been getting fucked and put to the side like a mistress. Police patrolling why? Because prison became a business. They murder one of ours and they start talking about forgiveness. We think that it's alright because we got public assistance. If this ain't hell, dog, what is this? Where was all lives mattered when they killed Osama? There was no peace talk like the Dalai Lama. Bush dropping bombs saying he gon' bring the drama. They got justice, man, they even caught the Boston bomber. But when we ride, they send the military and armor. When we fight oppression, then our people die a martyr. You reap what you sow, some people call it karma. When Christ return, y'all gon' get this harvest like a farmer. Don't tell me don't bring up the past no more. They still trying to settle the score with a side of Shakur. I changed my life and I'm just trying to live life right. But at night I look behind me and see flashing lights patting me down. You got nothing that's poking me right. I don't smoke or push pills, I gave up my vice. So Mr. Officer, why you wanna take my life? And your honor, why you gave our homeboy's life? I've been wondering why you shot our homeboy twice. Pussy with a gun screaming out that he got a knife. He came from Habibi's spot, it was chicken and rice. Shit's trife, I'm just giving visuals like Skype. Ask Trayvon, Mike Brown, Akai Gurley, Eric Garner, Sean Bell, Philando, Alden Sterling, Jaquan McDonald. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. I pray for the demise of the devil. Lord knows I despise every devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil and said, I pray to die every devil.
Because I'm willing to fight against drug dealers if they Muslim, if they Christian, if they atheist, if they Buddhist, if they killing black men. Guess what? I'm gonna say something about it. Because you know why? Just like you ain't gonna, like your boy said, it ain't gonna happen. Guess what? I'm not letting nobody sell you drugs without me saying that. I'm not gonna do it. You know why? Because even though I don't know you, guess what? Just like that's your boy, guess what? I'm your boy. Even though I don't know you, I'm not letting nobody sell you crack. You know why? Because I never saw you before. But you a black man like me. And it's worth something.
My whole life was trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, so packed, I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire to rhythm man blues for this guitar smoke. Rebel with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Felt like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now look, 10 G's plus a good wreck. Sometimes a follower is a soldier, trying to find a good ship. Plus when you in hell, how did you excel? Wisdom the breath of life, I don't believe in fairy tale. Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain, something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged sword, with a style that they might just record. The only thing equal is the curse for the wicked and the righteous reward. Have mercy on the men that don't see it, separated from the tares. Now on my prayers and it's so be it. A rebel, take the world by word of mouth. UPK, we the rebels that you heard about. Yeah. And it ain't gonna stop till 100 verdicts in the house and I'm handing verdicts out. Get rank, you ain't heard a clout without a shadow of a doubt. These devils hitting licks off us. Fuck the bank, I'm about to storm the pocket ticket office. Can't sweep office, cannot stop us. And plus I know the feds watch us. Telling people that they church full of witch doctors. Put us in prison, they stockpile us. Meanwhile, UPK turning rebels into rock ballers. In league with mighty men, and now I understand things. that never truly made sense. Like why I'm crying at this funeral for a criminal, knowing he ain't innocent. It's fucked up. But my boo shot, standing between two priests, about to blaze on their heads, call it tough love. Look out for niggas just club and wouldn't touch a white bitch with OJ's black gloves. Father, forgive me for my error. I'm forever by your side, clean and purge me of all my flaws. This the reason I'm alive. Thank God for this truth, cause for a long time was a rebel without a cause.
Look, man, first time I met Commander Junior Hunter, man, hit 3807.
Rebel without a
I
cause.
had my little daughter with me. Opened the door, he was dropping the truth on me and all that.
Rebel
He said,
without a
yeah,
cause.
man, you know, you do your time. We taking the mountains, training in hand-to-hand combat.
Rebel without a
said,
cause.
oh, yeah.
This the reason I'm
Shine me
alive.
up,
Thank
nigga.
God for this truth, cause for a long time was a rebel without a cause.
You cannot whoop us. We're already dead. We're already beaten down. We've been beaten down for 400 years. We already got the wounds inside and outside our bodies. How you gonna hurt us? You cannot threaten us. You cannot frighten us. We live in the most frightening places, under the most frightening conditions. We are immune to fear. We are immune to harm. You see what I'm saying? You have stepped into a cesspool. You're the only one gonna get infected.
Prepare slaughter. We bout to bombard their whole operation. Certified priests, prophesied this my occupation. This shit outrageous. They done made the truth docile. That's why we on the corner crying aloud, looking hostile. It's UPK style. Can't stop now. Farthest warfare couldn't last one round. Let the oppressed rise, and let the rich mourn till the sundown. Enough with this shit. I'm about to make it hot, call it compound. This for my niggas, put the guns in the drugs down. Dwelling in peace till the Lord call for the blood hounds. Try to decide my death and got beside yourself. Swore drawn for what you perform. How you gon' hide yourself? Devil got to die for his lies and adventures. Ain't got no love for them crackers. No, just cruel intentions. And then my father's house is spinning mansions. I got plenty bitch for the adventures. This your death sentence. I'm talking about slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter. That they do not rise. Go ahead and fill the world with lies. And die for your skin. You gon' die for your crime. That's right. Talking to you. So warn for your life. Your life. Try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear. Till the devils that the end is still. Slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah. Now they shook from vicious words out this handed book. Bound to take these rappers back to school. My flow said and hook. They crossed the line, ain't no coming back. You became no cowards. The only thing sweet is the honey jet. Righteous is the Lord. Give me rest from my sorrow. And hand down death for them devils. There's no tomorrow. Why? Cause they violence leave a man a stiff corpse. You see a flag in the bench, I see horns in a pitchfork. Go ahead. So please believe it. The white man is a demon. And I ain't gon' vote for them to free me. No. They beat us till we the color purple. That's why this knife till they throat like ceiling. You got this nigga on his knees. They wanna have peace. We screaming, let this bitch burn at 1,000 degrees. I'm laying in the bosom of revenge. I told her I'd do anything she please as I squeeze on the double D's. Fuck you, man. I'm talking to you. Slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter. That they do not rise. Go ahead and fill the world with lies. And die for your skin. You gon' die for your crime. That's right. Talking to you. So warn for your life. Your life. Try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear. Till the devils that the end is still. Slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah.
The police just shot him for no apparent reason. No reason at all. They asked for license and registration. That's the police officer over there that did it. With the black on. I can't really do shit because they got me handcuffed. I can't believe they just did this. I'm fucking back!
It's okay, I'm not here.
Slaughter, that they do not rise and feel the world with lies. They die for your skin, you gon' die for your pride. That's why talking to you. So war for your life, try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear. Tell them devils that they in this deal. Slaughter.
Home of the truth, no lie. One West, UPK, just a lie. Shut the fuck up, bitch, cause you killing my vibe. I ain't gotta hide, cause I stay outside. Going worldwide. Blaze on the devil, let me put my cup down. Waiting on the order so I can take ground. Gun sounds, make his ass gon' lay down. Said you was down, where's his ass at now? Who want the smoke? I am the ghost, I used to go 10 toes down. Priest. Home of the truth, no lie.
Ready? Yeah. Now the Germans might see this. I'll threaten you later. I'll threaten you later. What's going on, buddy, man? Yeah, much respect. Great to see you, man. What's going on, Israel? You know what it is. It's Isupk, 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, 100. And this is the law class. We gonna drop the laws on you, man. And we gonna do things a little different, man. I got an article that I came across. Of course, it's about this. Yep, I'm not getting nothing. I'm not getting no feed because Toby in the headphones. Yep, there we go. Wait a minute now. There we go. There he is. So yeah, so of course this article is about this. I'm not even sure the word to use. This beta male, Tyler Perry, right? And he's talking about he's not going to teach a 7-year-old son about race just yet. He's not going to teach him about race just yet. Listen, I don't know about you, but I teach my kids the second they come out the womb. You understand? They come out the womb and hey, listen here, little nigga, you got to know that pressure's the devil. Like, I'm teaching them fresh out the womb. You understand? And when you don't teach them out the womb, you ain't got to teach a kid about race right now. You know who is? The rest of the world. Right. The oppressor is short teaching, man. And before we get too deep into it, man, let's play a little bit of that video that I sent you about him and this cat named Dr. Umar Johnson. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I can't really pronounce the cat name. But he's pretty famous in the Kemet-Swallowski community. You understand? He's one of them Pan-African cats. Talks about African this, African that. He prides himself on being a religious historian, right? On a black historian. But somehow this nigga ain't put it on the Israelites. He ain't made that connection. He ain't made the connection to Jerusalem being mother to us all. But, you know, he makes the connection with Africa. He knows all this other stuff. But, I don't remember him speaking about how Christ is black. I do hear him talk about black gods, right? Not black Christ.
It's like in that video, you can tell that he's, kind of been listening to UPK or some. Absolutely. Because how how it is he starts including Hispanics
Right.
into his breakdowns and everything.
Right. And before he was excluding them. He never accepted them.
Right.
He was marking them like, he would put them in the same boat as the Chinese, the Japanese, and these other people that come over here to get up over us, the Muslims. I don't remember him saying nothing too much about the Africans being over us.
Right.
But I see now his spirit is starting to change. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, you too long.
But play that video when you get it, Sugar.
If I could real quick, just add on something that you had said previously, about the other nations will teach our children about race. You understand? But listen, like if you're too weak, if you're a brother or sister, you're too afraid to teach your children, you understand, our children about race, about who it is that their enemy is. If you're too indoctrinated by Christianity, get your children into the UPK.
Right.
And we'll show them how important it is to stick to your race. You understand? We'll show them how important it is to realize who your enemy is, why it is that you shouldn't follow after other nations, and ultimately why it is that we should come back to our own culture and not just what it is that other nations say is our culture.
Right.
You understand?
Absolutely. That's a heavy point. And it's, to feed off of what you're saying, like I bet you, I can guarantee it, that white people don't say this about their kids. They say, I'm gonna wait till little Timmy, he's only 7 now. I'm gonna wait till little Timmy gets older to start to teach him about race. I guarantee you, he don't teach his kids that. And this is so wicked, coming from a person who is supposed to be a devout Christian, right? He's supposed to be a servant of the Most High, which we know he's not because he always dresses up like a woman and promotes homosexuality in all his goddamn movies. So we know it's a lie, but this just goes to show you the wickedness of Christianity. Go ahead and play that little bit of that clip when you got it. This is also coming from another little girl. I wish you would. She not get her. You're gonna play the video. Play the video and then get her.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but I was just reading something and it kind of bothered me. Tyler Perry, he basically said, I'm not going to teach my son about race. Like, he doesn't want to use, white, black. And I'm seeing a lot of black people do that now, where they don't want, they want to be identified as like he, she, they. They don't want you saying that they're black, and it's causing confusion, but I just wanted your take on it, Dr. Umar. Why are we as black people falling into the white supremacist trap with these things?
Because we do
I don't
not
see how
want
you
to take
can
it.
identify with your race.
You can't. But remember now, we've been down this road plenty of times. This is nothing new. This is not new at all. This whole technique of trying to become invisible by not identifying with your race, it is, first of all, it is psychopathologically stupid to think white people are going to stop identifying you as black because you don't want to. That's ridiculous. Nobody is going to see you as anything other than what you are, no matter what name you tell. I don't care.
Now, here's what the guy said. He said, we've been down that road before, which is the absolute truth. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we have been down this road before. So you don't want to teach your child about having an identity, right? You don't want to teach your child about being black in America. Let me ask you something. At what age do cops start killing black men or black kids? At what age? Go ahead.
Before they even come out the womb, sir.
Before they even come out the goddamn womb. Go ahead.
It's a lot, and before they would prove that there was a case where a devil cop shot a sister in her stomach.
Absolutely.
9 months pregnant.
Absolutely. Cut that up. That was what I was going to pull out. I hate when niggas on the same wavelength as me. But absolutely, before black kids are born, cops are shooting them. Right. Cut it down. Before black kids are born, cops are shooting them. They're shooting pregnant women intentionally in the goddamn stomach. They're shooting them in the stomach. The chick screamed she was pregnant. I don't know how many times she screamed it. She kept screaming, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant. You think that stopped that cop? And here you got a 7-year-old and you don't want to teach him. Listen, I tell my brother, listen, I know for a fact Bongad did this, you know what I'm saying? When Israel was pregnant, he was, rubbing on the baby in the womb, letting them know that the precious the goddamn devil. You understand? Right. We teach our kids like the scriptures say. Let's get some more on this video.
J, I don't care if you use L, I don't care if you use Muhammad, I don't care if you use whatever you want to use. Everybody knows who you are. They can go straight to your DNA analysis, and the DNA in your body will tell them exactly who.
Now, he's saying everybody knows who you are. They can go straight to the DNA, go to this, yeah, that's all well and fine. But what about the scriptures? That's what we need to start using to figure out who the hell we are. We need to use this Bible, man. The Bible tells you who you are. Black man, Hispanic man, Indian man, woman, child. It tells you who you are. And would you get her another cup? Because that cup had a hole. Yeah, all three of them do. Yeah, don't walk, get her a regular cup, man. There ain't nothing there. So I can get up. But the scriptures tell you who you are, black man, Hispanic man, Indian man, woman, and child. You don't even need no goddamn DNA. That DNA test that they be doing at 23andMe and Ancestral.com, that stuff means nothing no more. They've already done studies on it. It was a devil, right? This was the funniest thing I've ever seen. It was a devil. He took a lizard. He had a pet lizard. He swabbed the lizard's mouth and sent it off, and he did it from several different spots. The lizard came back that it was African. Like the devil, you know, because you got to fill out which ethnicity is. If you're black, whatever it is that you are, this is how they help trace your lineage, supposedly. But my thing is this: you shouldn't have to put in there that information if it's all about genetic markers, right? I shouldn't have to tell you I'm black in order for you to figure out I'm black according to DNA, right? But that goes to show you that some tests are not valid. The goddamn lizard came back, man, African and black and everything else. You get what I'm saying? And I guarantee you can do the same thing with horses and everything else. They couldn't even tell the genetic marker from a human from a goddamn lizard.
It's like if I could.
Damn right.
There were two identical twins. They were sisters. They had both sent in their DNA, and they both got different DNA results back. You understand? Just to show that, DNA testing, so much when, like, for instance, they'll tell you, oh, you descend from this king in the Congo, or, some disgusting African nation over there, but yet it won't tell you about your uncle that was, a crackhead or a dope dealer.
Right.
You understand? It won't tell you about your father.
Right.
And so many of us are looking for and desperately need in our lives. It's not telling you about that, but they can come up with some, imaginary numbers and all that about you descending from Africa.
Right. And the crazy part is, us as a nation, we believe that shit. So watch my language. We believe it. They tell us we from the Bumumbu tribe, and we take it and run with it. We will take it and run with it. It says I'm from the Bumumbu tribe. So, we specialize in the you get what I'm saying? And they take it and run with it.
Right.
Like, that's why you see so many celebrities now going over to Africa. The latest one on my radar is Samuel L. Jackson. Right. He is over there, and he became like this honorary member of their tribe or this and that, blah, this good. When the fact of the matter is this, the only reason they got him over there and accepted him and doing all that is why? To siphon all that goddamn money from him.
Right.
To siphon all that goddamn money from him. That's all they want is the money. Because where was they at before that? You get what I'm saying? Why ain't they been reaching out? Right. Isupk is the only people with the truth, man. It's the only people. We don't need these genetic markers. Let me tell you something. The oppressor knows who you are. What's the proof of that? That's the reason you don't see Africans being gunned down in the streets. That's the reason why Africans can come over here and open up businesses, got their own grocery store. They're even owning gas stations now.
Right.
They have all this economic power, but I still ain't seen a nigga with a gas station. Not here in this city. Go ahead.
Listen, Luck, if I could, to further add on to that point, like, I got a quick question, real quick, for the brothers and sisters watching online. Do you see what other nation do you know here in America is trying to thrive?
Right.
And to answer that question for y'all, there is no other nation. Because everybody else is already doing their thing.
Right.
Everybody else is already thriving. Everybody else is already benefiting from America.
Right.
Except Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
Right.
Like how Cap was bringing out at camp last week. All these other heathen nations are coming over here and getting all the benefits without any repercussions, without getting, held up at the lawns or anything, without having, any interruptions with coming over here. But when it comes to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, it's just something that's preventing us from even getting a sliver of, what these heathens can get here in this nation.
Right. You're absolutely right. And that's why the Lord told us to separate. You understand? Right. Let's get some more on that video.
Who you are and where you come from. So nobody is confused about who we are but us. And the only reason why we are confused is because...
You hear what he said? Nobody else is confused about who we are but us. Right. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. So why wouldn't you start teaching your child as early as you possibly can about who they are and far as their race is concerned, ethnicity-wise? You get what I'm saying? Why wouldn't you do that? For him to say that is equivalent to him saying, I'm not going to teach my son about hot and cold. That's the cool part. But like for him to say that he's not going to teach a 7-year-old son about ethnicity is the same with him saying that I'm not going. That's just like me saying I'm not going to teach my kids about fire. I'm not going to teach them about ice. I'm not going to teach them about heat. I'm not going to teach them about drowning in a pool. Like this is detrimental to a child growing. Go ahead. If you spell it, it's going to be a problem. So be careful. You hear me? Be careful. Get it? Let's get some. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Salaki, this is a quick sidebar, but this is just pushing back super duper far back, back in the younger ages. Back I remember when I was in 3rd grade. People was telling, science teacher was telling me everything, telling me about biology of the earth and stuff like that. And here's the thing: you feel the need to remind a child that the earth isn't flat. You feel the need to remind them that, but you don't feel the need to remind them that they are black, that they are the children of Israel. Right. That's all I can say, Sir Salaki. I just found that funny.
Right. No, I'm okay. Go on. Let's play video. Let's get some more of that video.
We are confused. It's because we have no pride in who we are, no dignity in who we are, no respect in who we are, and most of us feel the best way we can escape racism.
I'm just going to click random stuff and something I'm sure is going to come to me because that's what I love about this kid.
What would you say, sir?
Is try to escape being African. That's the strategy. I am going to stop oppression, and the only reason why we are confused is because we have no pride in who we are, no dignity in who we are, no respect in who we are, and most of us feel the best way we can escape racism is try to escape being African. That's the strategy. I am going to stop oppression for me and my family by ceasing to identify with that name, which has become the badge of degradation for our people. All this is are people jumping off the ship because they don't want to save the ship.
Stop right there. What he's saying, I agree with that. But the reason I agree with that is because that is exactly what Commander Junior Hanna has been saying since '69.
Right.
You understand? What he's saying ain't nothing but him watching ISUPK and regurgitating everything that ISUPK have said.
Right.
Let me tell you something. I can tell you for a fact, everything that I say is the absolute truth, and it's the fact that it is right. Why do I know that? Because I'm not telling you something that I haven't been taught.
Right.
I have been taught this, and this knowledge has been passed down since 1969. To me, anyway, it has been passed down. You get what I'm saying? Now, the brothers that came before me, before Commander Junior Hanna took over, that's a different animal. But I'm part of the 69 squad. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't part of the 7-head squad. I'm part of the Commander Junior Hanna squad. And the brothers that he rose up. That's the squad I'm with. So since 69, this is what has been taught through our nation, through the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians here in ISUPK. Right. And everybody knows who the hell the ISUPK is. Everybody knows. It's no longer a secret. You know who them niggas is on the corner screaming, crying out loud and sparing out. You know who we are. You know for a fact that these other so-called Hebrew Israelite groups are breakout groups from us. The white man knows. He calls them one Westerners. That's an FBI whole study case on them. They get articles on it. We all know this. And if you don't know, just reach out and I'll teach another class on it. Because that's what I do. But so what he's saying is nothing more than what Commander Juliana has been saying since '69. Let's go ahead and kill that article, and I want you to kill that video, and I want you to pull up the actual article of Tyler Perry and what he said exactly. Come. You understand? I want you to pull up exactly what Tyler Perry said.
So did you send me the article?
Yeah, I sent it to the same spot I've been sending it. I sent it to you personally, and I sent it to, if you want to pull it up on the screen. So you can pull it up on your phone, or you can pull it up on the screen for the people.
I'm going to reach my phone.
Go ahead, do your thing. If you could, Dad, could you pull that scripture separation according to our fathers? You understand? Like, we don't realize how wicked this is and how destructive this is to Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians being brought up in this goddamn world, man. From the second that your kids can understand the concept of everything, you should be teaching them. Well, I've been teaching my kids since they was born. I let my kids know at an early age. Like, for him to say he's not going to teach his kids about race, I guess he's not going to have the police talk. Right. Because there is a certain way that you raise your kids up with interacting with the goddamn police if you Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian. Right. That's just the reality of the situation. No Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian parent has ever told their child, hey, you talk to the police how you want to talk to them. Right. You talk to anybody the way you want to talk to them. Right. You teach your child, you run your child up, hey, stop. Hey, stop. You raise your child up with caution and teaching them the correct way to deal with the oppressor. You let them know, listen, you comply with the police because these goddamn cops will kill you. Right. You don't do anything that piss a cop off because they will kill you. I'm gonna tell you, man, like, so my grandmother, you know what I'm saying, pray she rise again. My grandmother, man, she taught me to basically fear the police. Right. It's sad, but it's the truth. She taught me to fear the police. And here's what she told me. She said, these police will kill you. And I said, why? She said, because you're Black. These police will kill you because you're Black. Right. That was the reason. I asked for a reason why the police will kill me. And she simply told me, they will kill me because I'm Black. Point blank period. You Black. They don't have to have a reason more than that. They will blow your goddamn head off because you are Black. And what age do you think I was when she had this conversation with me? Go ahead.
You was just throwing a number out there, 3 years old.
Listen, she
maybe younger.
She's been preaching to me since I was 2 and 3 years old. Right. And the crazy part is I can remember these things. I can remember this from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had to be about 7, the conversation that I'm recalling now. I had to be about 7 years old when I asked her, why would the police kill me? Go ahead.
Like, here's the thing that you, like how you said, you was able to remember that even from the age of 3 years old, 2 years old, pushing it. Like, here's the thing. Like, you had to remember that. And here's the reason why. It's because being a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian here in America, it's not a lifestyle. You're not in America to live. You're in America to survive. Right. That's what Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians do every single day. We don't live in America. We don't live like the oppression these other heathen nations do. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians survive on the daily. We have to worry about what's going to be on our plate the next day. We have to worry about who's going to be gunned down the next day by the oppressor.
Right.
These are the thoughts and mindsets that Black Hispanic communities have here in America. Well, at least the UPK does. You know, when you're dealing with your Christian pastor and all that, he wants to tell you to trust the oppressor. But like I said, being in the UPK, man, like it's survival here in America. You understand?
And that's a heavy point that you brought out. I don't even think you realize how heavy you dropped it. Like you said, see, Tyler Perry, the reason he can say this about his kid is because he feels like he's Tyler Perry.
Right.
And not only is he Black famous, because in order to get white famous, right? Right. Because I don't know if anybody's ever heard this term, but I'll make it simple for you. But anybody know who Wayne Brady is?
Any football player?
No.
Basketball player?
No, that's the dude that was on the Chappelle show.
Nope, don't remember.
When Paul Mooney said the reason white people love Wayne Brady is because he makes Brian Gumble looks like Malcolm X. Right? So he's on a show called Whose Line Is It Anyway? Where it's a white show where they do all parodies and all this kind of stuff. It's goofy as hell. It's a different spirit behind it. It's matter of fact, I'm gonna be simpler for you. All right, so give me a Black comedy show that everybody watches, that all Black people watch. Go ahead.
Was it Martin?
Martin? That's perfect. That's perfect. Now give me a white show that's a comedy show that all white people watch.
The Office.
The Office. That's a good one. But when I was a kid, it was a show called Seinfeld. I've never watched it. But I know about it. Right. Because it used to come on all the time. There was Seinfeld, it was Cheers, it was a show called Friends. Right? Now these shows sound familiar, right? Yeah. Most Black people don't watch these shows, but we know about them. But them shows with them actors and stuff, and the reason I know this is because I'll be watching the movie every blue moon and I'll be like, who's this? And my rib will be like, well, that's the chick who used to be on Friends. That's the dude from Seinfeld. That's how I know it. So, and that's what I say when I say there's a difference between being Black famous and being white famous. Now, when you're Black famous, right, you're in the inner circle, right? You're Black famous, you're in the inner circle, right? Black people are the reason why you have your success. And then once you have your success based off of Black people, right? Then you switch over to become what's called white famous. Where white people say, hey, I like this cat. We're going to go ahead and accept him as white culture now. Give me the person that I'm thinking of in my head who is a perfect example of this. Who was Black famous and then became white famous and now is running the so-called comedy industry. Kevin Hart. Wrap that up. Oh, yeah. That is it. Kevin Hart. That's exactly who started off Black famous. Like, that Mighty Man Quartz's just put me on a movie called Paper Soldiers. Never watched it. This movie is like 99, 2000, between 99 and 2003, 2005, somewhere in that frame. I've never watched it. I watched it the other day, and it had Kevin Hart in it and a bunch of rappers, right? So, but one thing that I did see about Kevin Hart from the movie that I watched then to now is that he always played a beta male. He always played soft and effeminate and a coward. Go ahead.
I know exactly where you're going with this. I don't want to steal too much of your show, but I do want to touch on this though, because I do remember Captain Obvious as well. Like, I'll just give an example, like you said with Kevin Hart. Like Kevin Hart, he plays a clown in every single movie, and people don't know that's I'm trying to think of a word for it. I don't know how to really find a word for it, but that's basically demasculating the brother. Right. And little does everybody else know, like that's meant to bring the Black man down. Absolutely. Like for that brother to be a clown in every single movie, to be a female dog in every single movie, like whenever he comes into confrontation, he's always running away from it. Like that's exactly what that's promoting onto the Black men of the community.
Right. No, he definitely plays a bitch in every movie. It's a lot. He definitely does. But he started off Black famous, right? Right. He started off Black famous. And now he's accepted by white people. Now he's white famous. You get what I'm saying? And I say all that to say this. Once you get to that certain line, you feel like you don't have to worry about Black problems. Right. That's why Tyler Perry said he's not going to teach his son, right, his 7-year-old son, about racism, about the problems that's going on in the world. So for him not to teach his 7-year-old son about race and ethnicity means that he's not going to teach his 7-year-old son about the pain and suffering of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Read between the goddamn lines. I'm not going to teach my 7-year-old son about the pain and suffering of his people, my people, our people. But why does he say that? Go ahead.
It's lucky because that's the Christian philosophy. That's exactly what
That's,
he's teaching.
that's true. But give me, why is he saying that? Matter of fact, let's get the scripture, if you would. Maybe this is the why he's saying it.
So I got the article as well.
Yeah. Hold on to that article. I want to get the scripture. We're about to find out the reason why Tyler Perry is not teaching his son about race and ethnicity. Go ahead.
This is the book of Ezra, chapter 10 and verse 11. Now therefore, make confession unto the Lord God of your fathers.
Cut it down, bro.
And do his pleasure, and separate yourselves.
And do what?
And separate yourselves.
Read that from the top again.
Book of Ezra, chapter 10, verse 11. Now, therefore, make confession unto the Lord God.
Make confession unto the Most High. Keep going.
Of your fathers.
Of who?
Your fathers.
Everybody.
Your fathers.
White man.
Your fathers.
The Chinese man.
Your
The
fathers.
African man.
Your fathers.
Your goddamn fathers. Even Dr. Umar knew this much. Of course, he studies under the Isupk under Commander Junior Hana. He secretly studies and don't want to give any kudos, but no sweat. We know where you get information comes from. Keep going.
And do his pleasure.
And do who pleasure?
His pleasure.
The Lord said this is his pleasure. Let's bring some joy. Keep going.
And separate yourselves.
And do what?
Separate yourselves.
Join together.
Separate yourselves.
Keep going.
From the people of the land.
Stop right there. So, why ain't Tyler Perry teaching his son about race and ethnicity at 7 years old? Go ahead.
Because like the scripture said, he wants to try to separate himself from the black community.
Yes. He wants to separate from black people. And if you're separating from black people, where are you going there?
You're going to the white people.
You're going to
You want to join the oppressed?
He wants to be, because he's white famous now. So, like everybody, the reason Tyler Perry got famous is because everybody had a goddamn bootleg copy of Medea.
Right.
Everybody had a bootleg copy of goddamn Medea. Everybody and their mama did. And then, we start buying the regular DVDs. Go ahead, bring it up.
Oh no, I was gonna add on. I was gonna say he wants to be a part of America.
Yeah, right. He does. He wants to be a part of America. The only reason you wouldn't teach your child about race and ethnicity is because there's a stigma that comes with that.
Right.
There's a stigma of death. There's a stigma of raping and pillaging and robbing. There's a history that comes with teaching your kids about being black in America. There is. There's a responsibility to teach your child these things, man. The reason he doesn't want to teach his 7-year-old son this is because he doesn't want to separate from America.
Right.
He's an American. Why do I listen? My son is 7 years old. He lives a privileged life, and he's not going to suffer like you other niggas suffer.
Right.
So therefore, why the hell do I have to teach him about suffering, how you other niggas suffer? He's not going to suffer how y'all suffer. Why would I teach him to have compassion or mercy for y'all suffering? I'm gonna wait till he's older, till he's nice and spoiled, and that stuff doesn't matter anymore. Because if he starts to teach his son this early, guess what's gonna happen? His son is gonna have empathy. His son is gonna have empathy. Let's get the article, Senior. You know what this is. Okay, go ahead and get the rest of the scripture.
And from the strange wives.
Oh yeah, we already know about that. We already know that these goddamn famous blacks, Hispanics, and Gadites, they love marrying outside their goddamn race, whether they be man or woman.
Right.
They love marrying outside their race. They will take on a heathen wife or a husband in a heartbeat. Right? Let's get this article. Read it nice and loud. Little girl, cut it down.
Got on time. Tyler Perry says he's avoiding talking about race with his 7-year-old son.
He's avoiding it. He said, this is bad. I can't do this. You only avoid things when they're bad, right?
Right.
Why is he avoiding it? What's so bad about talking about race? Because he's going to have to show pictures and say things and bring up a conversation. And then somebody asks, well, Dad, am I a nigga? You tell the person, say, no, son, you're not a nigger.
Right.
You're my son. And no son of mine is a nigger. I'm Tyler Perry. I'm white people famous.
Right.
Keep going.
Tyler Perry revealed he's not interested in having the race talk with his 7-year-old
again.
Come. Tyler Perry revealed he's not interested in having the
He
race
has
talk.
no interest in talking about race. He has no interest in it. But you know what this goddamn homosexual dude have an interest in teaching his son at 7 years old? He's teaching his son about homosexuality.
Right.
He's teaching him about he's teaching him about all the wickedness of the world.
Right.
He's teaching him about gay men, lesbian women. He's teaching them about pansexuals.
Right.
He's teaching them about all these. He's teaching about everything gay.
Right.
He's teaching his son about everything gay. He's teaching his son about the new pronouns that you have to say.
Right.
If he identifies as a woman, you have to say she. You have to say she, son. Even though he has a rod, you still have to call him a her. He's teaching him about that. He's teaching about everything wicked in the world. He's teaching them about it.
Right.
Well, so if you're not teaching your son about race, Mr. Tyler Perry, I dare ask, what the hell are you teaching him about? I know what you're teaching him about because you're a good old Christian.
Right.
If your 7-year-old son asks you, why do you dress up like a woman? What are you going to tell him, Mr. Perry? Or if you're not going to have that conversation, you're going to say, well, son, this is how I pay the bills.
Right.
And you're supposed to be a deeply religious man. You're supposed to teach your child about the Bible, right? So what if your son says, well, look, Dad, the Bible says that you're not supposed to dress up like a woman.
Right.
That men are supposed to dress in things that pertain to a woman. Then what are you going to say, Mr. Perry? This goes to show you that the Christians don't give a damn about serving the Lord. They don't give a damn about none of that. Let's get some more oracle.
Tyler.
You got it?
My phone tweaking out.
Go ahead. You still waiting?
No, I got it. It's a lock here. Took me off the article first. I got you. Tyler Perry revealed he is not interested in having the race talk with his 7-year-old son, Amon.
I could just picture him doing it in quotations. The race talk.
Right.
Like it's not a real goddamn issue out here.
Right.
Like black, Hispanic, and Native Indian children are goddamn dying. Go ahead.
It's a look. If I could, that's the thing with this whole situation. Like when it comes to every other nation, they make sure to teach their children young.
Absolutely.
Like when it comes to the oppressor, I know that that's a main standpoint on that. The oppressor teaches his children, you know, his bloodline, where they come from, every single descendant they have, their gods, every single thing about them.
Right.
But when it comes to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we just try to find every single loophole possible so we don't have to serve the Most High.
Right. You're absolutely right about that. We'll find a reason not to talk about it. Let's get some more.
Tyler Perry revealed he is not interested in having the race talk with his 7-year-old son, Amon, just yet. The filmmaker made the striking revelation in an interview with the AARP as he opened up about fatherhood. In an effort to shield his son from the harsh realities of the world.
And what? What is he trying to do?
In an effort to shield his son from the harsh realities of the world.
He's trying to protect his son from the harsh realities of the world. That's what it says. But let me ask you something. How is not teaching your son? You're not throwing him out there to the wolves by actually not teaching your son. You're not shielding him. You're endangering him.
Right.
You are putting your son at risk. Your son is going to run around here thinking that everybody loves him, that God loves everybody. You're gonna destroy your son the same way most of us and I became destroyed. Because we were raised by Christians. And being raised by Christians for most of our goddamn lives put us at a disadvantage. Because if I would have knew who my goddamn enemies were in the beginning, I could have prepared.
Right.
I could have done a lot of things different in my goddamn life.
It's a lot.
Go ahead.
My fault. I didn't mean that.
No, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say it's a lot. I even want to add on to that. Even at a young age, man, I can only imagine how many brothers I could have seen, man. Like you already know our family. Our family is screwed up from the bottom up. But even
Christians. They ain't screwed up. They just be Christians.
Right. That's the thing, man. Like there are so many brothers and sisters, man, we could have saved if we could have just had this truth a little bit earlier. But you know, ain't nothing wrong with us happening now. We just make it work with what we got.
Right. But the problem is, like you said, we could have, our whole lives would have been different if I would have grew up knowing that I was the Lord's chosen.
Right.
I was everything but the Lord's chosen growing up.
Right.
Nobody ever told me how special I was. How do you tell your son he's special if you can't teach him about race? So you trying to tell me, Mr. Tyler Perry, that the white kids are better than your son?
Right.
This is the things I want to plug to ask Tyler Perry myself. You're trying to tell me that you teach your son that he's the same as a Chinese kid, he's the same as an African kid, he's the same as everybody else? Because not teaching your son about race means that he's the same as everybody else.
Right.
And with that being said, Mr. Tyler Perry, I have another question. Do you think that these other nations are teaching their kids what you're teaching yours? You think that there's a Chinese parent out there right now telling their sons or telling their daughters, listen, you're the same as American kids, especially the black ones, right? You are the same. You listen, you're not better than nobody. You're not special, we're all special. You think that's what these other nations are teaching their kids? Go ahead.
It's a lot. If I could, like the further, like that right there is heavy right there. Like when it comes to the suffering of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, that is literally what he's trying to teach his son. That we didn't have to go. That his son ain't got to go through the suffering of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Like he said, I'm tired. I'm Tyler Perry. You don't have to go through the same struggles as anybody else. But that's the thing. That's what makes us different from every other nation.
Right.
The pain and suffering of every single black Hispanic they went through, like I didn't have to go through that pain and suffering personally, but that's still my brother and my sister that had to suffer in the past.
Right.
They still had to suffer at the hands of our enemies for Lord knows how many years. And that's what he's trying to separate his son and trying to, deviate him off of. When, like, without him having that spirit, without him knowing who the true enemy is, like you said, he's going to go up to be a homosexual. He's going to go up to be a non-binary. He doesn't have a gender.
He already teaching him about that because that's what he is. He's the children his whole goddamn acting career.
Right.
He has no problem putting on a dress. So when his son comes in there with a dress on, he's not going to shun him for that.
Right.
Correct that. He's going to accept that because that's what he's been doing.
Right.
That's what he's seen his goddamn father do. But back to what I was saying. How is it that he can teach his son? So let me put it this way. I'm trying to make sure I word this the right way. So if you would, read that last little bit of that part that you was just reading. The harsh reality.
Come, I got you. In an effort to shield his son from the harsh realities of the world.
So, he's not teaching his son about race, right? He doesn't want to teach his son about race. He's trying to avoid that in an effort to protect him from the harsh reality of the world. So, Mr. Tyler Perry, even with that being said, you don't want to teach your son about him being black, but even you admitted that there is something wrong in the goddamn world where unarmed black kids are murdered or white school shooters are taken alive.
Right.
You understand that there is something wrong in the world, and you still don't want to teach your son about it. It does. Listen, what you think he's not? You don't think he'll understand that 7? These kids understand, and especially when it's beaten to them. And I don't mean like physically beaten to them. I mean repetition, 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 and repetition some more. So, how do you think Michael Jordan and LeBron James got good basketball? They didn't learn it when they was 20 years old. They didn't pick up a basketball when they was 20 years old and said, let me go out here and just play ball. He grew up. They were 7 years old when they had a basketball in their hands, right? You put your kids in football leagues at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, right? You put your kids in baseball leagues at 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, right? You're training them up to be athletes at 7 years old, right? That's what you do. You take them to be musicians. You put them in music class. You put them in art class. You prepare them to be successful in the things that you want them to be successful in. Right. When they're young, when they're 7 years old and under. That's what you're doing. You're preparing them for that, right? But you're going to avoid talking about race with your 7-year-old child to protect them from the harsh reality. That doesn't make any. Somebody make it make sense. Make it make sense. How does that matter? How does that make sense? So when is the appropriate age to talk about your child, to talk to your child about race then? But yeah, what age is she going to do it with your child?
As soon as she can comprehend words.
That's right.
As soon as she starts understanding words.
Yeah, right. Well, so why come we wouldn't wait till she's like 12?
I saying slacking, and even before then, because children they learn through seeing things,
right?
You understand? So when they see how it is that we interact with one another and how it is we interact with heathens, and they'll realize, oh well, this is how I'm supposed to carry myself around my brothers and sisters.
Right.
This is how I'm supposed to carry myself around our oppressor. You understand? Around Hamites or the East Indians, other nations.
Right. Yeah, damn right. And my question is this. Here's my other question. So you trying to protect them against racism. What else are you trying to protect them against, Mr. Perry? Are you going to protect them against homosexuality? Are you going to protect them against the feminist movement? Right. Are you going to protect them against interracial marriages?
Right.
Are you going to protect them against all these other wicked things that's in the world? Because you're basically protecting your child from being who they're supposed to be. You can't not teach your child not to be a nigga. You can't protect your child from being a nigga, Mr. Perry, no matter how much you want to. Go ahead.
Lucky, sir. He's trying to protect his child from the Most High.
Right. Right. That's exactly what he's trying to protect it from. I don't want you to love the Most High the way you're supposed to. Right. I want you to, love him the way that I do. Right. And that's at my convenience when it benefits me. Right. Which really, he don't love the Most High. Because what he's saying is so against the Most High, it don't make
of the world.
So he knows it's a problem, and he's trying to protect his son from that. Keep going.
Perry said he's delaying the talk with his son, whom he shares with models. Jalea Bakel, I believe that's how you pronounce that. As long as possible.
Let's see if I can find what she looked like. What's her name?
Jalea Bakel.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Tyler Perry's baby mama.
Tyler Perry's baby mama.
I just want to see if it pops up.
Right.
Jesus Christ, this is the best you could do, Tyler Perry? I mean, listen.
It's Gelil.
She popped up. I'm guessing this is her. At least she's black.
That's the best you could do, Tyler
Perry. She's a model?
Yeah, come.
I guess with everybody on Instagram being models, I guess it's,
Yeah.
I just don't see how she's a model, though.
Right.
She looks like she's hungry. And matter of fact, I want somebody to find out what's her nationality. I don't even know if she's a sister. She looked like a sister. And so do a whole lot of heathens.
Right.
If you could, Gab, see if you can't find her for me. See who her father is, her nationality. Keep going, Shinyan.
Come. I haven't had the conversation with Amon because he's only 7. And I want to hold out as long as I can.
Oh, ain't that about her?
As long as her.
She's an Ethiopian.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that's
I know it's gonna be a heathen eventually. It's Tyler Perry. Like I said, you gotta So like, if I could, real quick, like we had brought out in camp, man. I forget if it was camp or if it was probably the podcast we had brought this out in. When it comes to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, well, I guess whether it's a woman or a man, they will do anything they can to marry outside their race. And then when they do, they're not going for no big name people. They're going for somebody off the streets. They're going for somebody of a random, random caliber.
And it's funny though, because when it says she was a model, I'm looking at her face like, this is a model?
Yeah.
This is what passes for, like, I was blazing on them sisters the other day, because there was another clip that I seen where I'll be running on the podcast. All these bitches is Instagram models now.
Yeah.
And they said all of them are 8 or better.
Yeah.
That I don't agree with.
Right.
But in the same breath, all of them sisters look better than this bitch right here. It's a lot. All of them. Even if, she, like I said, she looks sick and hungry. I don't know why. She's an Ethiopian.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can see the Ethiopian features on her. And this is what he chooses to marry.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Perry. Ethiopians didn't make you rich. It was niggas.
Right.
Niggas got you paid.
Right.
Before you decided to be black people, white people famous and marry a goddamn African.
Right.
The only reason I ain't gonna blaze your goddamn child is because you're the father.
Right.
You understand? Which makes that child a nigga. Right. You need to train that child up to be a nigga because it don't matter that his mother's a goddamn African. It matters that you're a nigga. That's what matters.
Right.
You should know this, Mr. Perry. You're supposed to be such a Bible thumper.
Right.
Which we know is a goddamn lie because we the home of the truth. We know that if you believed in the Bible, first of all, you wouldn't marry an Ethiopian. Actually, that's second. Maybe that's third or fourth on the list because you've done so many wicked things. The number one thing that you've done and got paid to do is that you dressed up like a goddamn woman and did the most heinous of things in movies. Right. Dressed up as a woman, saying the most homosexual things that you can think of for talking to other men. Right. Dressed up as a woman, and then you get all this goddamn money. You don't do nothing for black people. Right. You don't do a goddamn thing for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the same people that made you rich. Right. You come to the defense of white people everywhere, like when the world was blazing on Joel Osteen because he was watching black people suffer and die in Houston when that bad flood happened, that power outage and all them things took place. Joel Osteen has the biggest church in Houston. He has a goddamn ex-basketball stadium as a church and didn't let black people in. Right. And you gave them millions of dollars for it. Right. Go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say some logic. I just put it in simple terms for you. Tyler Perry hates black people.
Yeah, right.
There's no other way around it. For every black, Hispanic, and Native Indian who is watching this class right now or may watch it in the future, Tyler Perry hates black people. Yeah, right. If he truly loved black people the way that he claims that he do, and the way that, he's promoted to, he wouldn't be dressing up as Medea, a black woman, and then, who's really a grown man. He wouldn't be dressing up as a female and flaunting that like it's something that everybody should be doing, like it's comedy, like this is a joke. That homosexuality act is not a joke here in America, especially with, these children growing up the way they are. These younger, the younger generation, right, being raised up to be just like Medea, just like Tyler Perry in this, Medea act. That's exactly how they're trying to raise our children up now.
Yeah,
our little girls want to be boys, and our little boys want to be girls.
Right. If I could, I don't see any difference between Tyler Perry and the way Tyler Perry is raising his son and the way Dwayne Wade is raising his son.
Right.
It's the same.
He's going down the same route.
It's the exact same.
Right.
Because he's saying that he don't want to teach his son about ethnicity. He don't want to teach his son about race. You're not teaching your son how to be a man. That's what you. The proof that what Shinyan said is the absolute truth. And when he said Tyler Perry hates black people, he hates his own goddamn son. Right. If you want to teach your son about who he is and what he is that you hate him. That's you hating him. You don't think so. You try to tell me that lions are going to raise their cubs up to be lions, wolves are going to raise their pups up to be wolves. You're not going to raise your son up to be a black man. From the day a wolf is born, is raised to be a wolf. Right. The day a lion is born, is raised to be a lion. Right. And from the day that a black, Hispanic, or Native Indian child is born, they should be raised up to be a black, Hispanic, or Native Indian child. They should be raised up to be a child of the Most High. Go ahead, Shimon.
And that's the thing with him not, wanting to let his son know all the, the harsh reality of the world.
The harsh reality.
Yeah, you understand? Him not wanting to let his son know about the harsh reality of the world is really condemning that little brother.
Right.
Like that, you telling him the harsh reality of the world is you protecting him and letting him know about what to be prepared and ready for. Yeah, you keeping that little dude sheltered ain't gonna do nothing but just condemn him, and then when he goes out here in the real world, he's gonna screw up with something. He's gonna screw up with the wrong person, and that little brother's gonna get put in a t-shirt. That's all
he's gonna turn out like Magic Johnson, son.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. That's the thing. When it comes to the streets, everybody else understands that term. Raising them up properly, and letting them know not to go out in the world and be reckless. But when it comes to dealing with the oppressor and all the wicked stuff that he's done to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, like how this brother's trying to do with his son, he's trying to shelter him. He's trying to let him know, like, oh, the oppressor, he's not gonna hurt you. He's not, an evil and wicked beast. He hasn't been killing us since the beginning of Genesis. Don't worry about that, son. Like, that is not doing nothing but just condemning that little brother. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I'm right. Let's get some more in order real quick. Come.
I haven't had the conversation with Amon because he's only 7, and I want to hold out as long as possible. Perry told the non-profit organization.
Stop right there. Okay, let me get that scripture.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 22, and verse 6. Train up a child.
Do what?
Train up a child.
Do what?
Train up a child.
Keep going.
In the way he should go.
Train up a child in the way that he should go.
Right.
Listen. When does training start? Does that say when training starts in that scripture? It doesn't. Do you know why it doesn't say when training starts? Because a child is a child from when? When is a child a child? It tells you when a child is no longer a child. So when is a child a child? When the day is fucking so lock in. When the day is freaking born. When the day that baby comes out of that vagina, it is a child.
Right.
And what does that scripture say?
Train up a child in the way he should go.
No, the scripture say wait till the child is older because he's only 7.
Train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it.
And when he's a grown-ass man, he's not going to depart from what you have taught him. You're waiting too late, Tyler Perry,
right,
to train that child up. You're waiting too late to teach him about the harsh realities of the world.
All right.
So you're not going to teach your child about pedophiles because that's the harsh reality of the world? Is that what? So you're not going to teach your child about pedophiles?
Right.
You're not going to teach him about that? You're not going to teach your child about drugs?
Right.
You're not going to teach him about that? You're not going to teach your child about any of the wicked things in the world? So if you're not going to teach your child about race, right? Tyler Perry, my question is this. At what age are you going to have good touch, bad touch? Where are you going to have that conversation with your child?
Right.
Something you want to say?
Well, when you make your point, but to add on to what you had said, you understand, he most likely never have that touch because, there's a reason it is Tyler Perry's wearing a dress.
Right.
You understand? Like, there's a reason it is that brothers in the world will go out and put on women's clothes, will get their nails painted, you understand, will, make their voice try to seem more like a woman.
Right.
Why it is that they'll put in weave or wear lace fronts, no matter how masculine, brothers try to make it. Like, there's a trauma.
They can make lace fronts masculine?
That's why I said, no matter how hard they try to make it. You understand? But our people, we don't realize there's a trauma behind, what's going on in with homosexuality.
Make sure you share the comments.
And effeminate men
that's it.
in our communities. You understand? Like like we don't realize how many brothers as well as sisters have been molested within our communities.
Right.
We don't realize the effect it is that it has on our people. Like that's why when the brothers brought it out a few weeks ago in the podcast, you know what I'm saying, talking about if you really do a deep dive on what's going on with our people, you look into all of our problems, you'll see that there's always some trauma behind the condition of our people. And everything it is that's going on with our nation. Like we got to stop turning a blind eye to these kind of things and you know just turning to celebrities and you know America's different philosophies and doctrines and it's you know it's just a normal thing. You know it's just the way the world is. Times are evolving. You know people are getting more open minds and being better people on the earth. That's simply not the case. What's happening is we're becoming more and more profane in this earth. Right. And the only way it is that we can become clean as a nation is if we turn back to the Lord.
Right.
If our people come to the Isupk under Indianapolis and accept these teachings and change their lives how it is that we're supposed to. You understand?
Yeah, you dropped it on so many goddamn heavy points. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you said it all right there. That he ain't teaching them about the good touch, bad touch. He ain't gonna teach them that. So go ahead.
I'm waiting till after you done.
All right, so you ain't teaching them about the good touch, bad touch. You ain't teaching them about race, right? So how do you teach them to interact with cops? At what age do you teach them to interact with cops? Because listen, let me tell you something. I've seen at what age does a child not go to juvenile? If that 7-year-old boy went to Walmart, right? Even though you're Tyler Perry, you got all this goddamn money. If he went into Walmart and stole something and nobody knew but they seen him, what do you think you're gonna do with that 7-year-old boy? What do you think you're gonna do with it? They're gonna say right? So how do you teach them to interact with law enforcement? How do you teach them to interact with women? So if you're not teaching them about race, what are you teaching them about? What else is important to teach them? That's the most important thing. You get what I'm saying? That's the most important thing. So even with that being said, you don't want to teach them about that because it's the harsh reality of the world, right?
Right.
Teaching them about race is a harsh reality. So one thing is this. Why is it such a harsh reality, Mr. Perry? What is it? I'm going to just call you by your stage name. I'm going to call you by your real name, Medea. Medea, if you don't want to teach your son about the harsh realities of the world, why not? Because all these bad things are happening to black people, right? And you don't want to teach them about that. So I have a question, Medea. Who is doing all these harsh things to black people?
Right.
Who is doing it? Why are they doing it? And how long have they been doing it? Are these things you're going to teach them? If so, when? If not, why not? These are valid questions, Medea Perry. You get what I'm saying? And you are destroying your child behind this. This is a true Christian philosophy, man. Ain't nothing wrong with teaching your son about being black. Because let me tell you something, being black is a glorious thing, man. Being black is a glorious thing. So let me get Psalms, man. Yeah, go ahead, my friend. Go ahead and finish that, bro, guys. So luck.
And when he is old, he will not depart from it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 16, and verse 1 in the Apocrypha. Desire not a multitude of unprofitable children.
Right? Hey. This child is broken. Get rid of it. Right? Hey, listen. This is just a harsh reality. Read that part from the beginning so you can get my mindset.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 16, verse 1 in the Apocrypha.
And I used to say this to my son before I even came into the truth. Go ahead.
Desire not a multitude of unprofitable children.
I told my son a long time ago, this is what your goal is. What is your goal? What is your job?
Serve you in the Most High.
Yeah, right. Not necessarily in that order.
You're trying to right.
Right. And what are you supposed to do? What is
Contribute to the wealth and stability of the family.
There it is, right there. Say that again so the people can hear you.
Contribute to the wealth and stability of our family.
Contribute to the wealth and stability of his family. I told him this before he was even in the truth. What his job was. His job is to serve the Most High and me and contribute to the wealth and stability of his family.
Right.
And I also told him this, in the second that you don't want to do any of this and decide you want to do your own thing, I will have other sons to replace you.
Right.
I told him this. Am I lying to you, Shinga?
No.
I will have other sons to replace you. The reason I'm not big on having other sons now is because he's been a perfect soldier. He has been a good son. A good son. I couldn't ask for a better son. But let me tell you something. I didn't wait till he was fucking grown to Slovakia. I didn't wait till he was freaking grown to start trying to train him up. Even when I was in the world, even if the things that I were teaching him were wrong, I was still teaching.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it's better me than somebody else.
Yeah.
Even when I was teaching them the things to do wrong, I was teaching them how to be safe.
Right.
Because I didn't have nobody to teach me.
Right.
I had to learn, and I learned wrong. Because nobody took the time to train me up. Nobody took the time. My father didn't train me up. My mother couldn't train me up. She was a woman. You get what I'm saying? So the people that did take the time showed me all the wicked stuff. Right. And that's what I followed. So you ain't got to have a talk with your son about raising Mr. Perry. The world will.
Right.
The white men will do it. As he's beating them down, calling them niggas and treating them like trash. When he's 20 years old and he's thinking that everybody's his friend and God loves everybody. On the day that you're not there to hold you out there, man, and you have it embedded in them, repetition. I embedded in my kids from the second that they understood English, what loyalty was, what respect was, what honor was, what disappointment was. All of these things. And I'm damn sure embedded in them race. I let them know. I let them know who the goddamn devil was.
Right.
Even before I didn't have a lick of truth in me, but I always knew the white man was the goddamn devil.
Right.
I always knew. That was when I got quizzed by Captain Kaposh and Officer Drop the first time I met him. That was the only thing I got right. Yeah. So yeah, he is the devil. The Bible speaks of. I don't know nothing else about the devil, about the Bible, but I knew that much.
So we even ask you that question. What are you talking about?
Right? Exactly. So what is it profit in blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to not teach our kids? It's not profiting us nothing, it's destroying us, man.
Right.
And you gotta teach your son that being this nothing, he's the harsh reality of the world. That's because you don't know the Bible, Mr. Perry. Teach him how glorious it is to be black, Hispanic, or Native Indian. Teach him that he's the Lord's chosen. Teach him that he's separate and holy. Teach him that he's perfect. Teach him how to be perfect. Teach him that the Lord loves him because he's black, Hispanic, or Native Indian. Teach him that. You're so worried about what the goddamn white man has to say that you're going to destroy your child. Mark my words, 20 years from now, but if that long, 10 years from now, he's 7, and 10 years from now, something bad's going to happen to that little boy. Now, I don't want it to, but because of the way that his father is training him not to be a man of the Lord, not to understand his place in this world, that think that he's going to be accepted by everybody, he's going to get murdered by his enemies. You say to keep him from the harsh realities of the world. Who is doing all these harsh realities of the world, Mr. Perry?
Right.
Who's doing it? Who is killing black people? You don't want to teach him about race because something is happening to the race of black people that he stems from. And what's happening to him and who's doing it? Why would you teach him that? Hold that thought right there. Let me get Psalms. What is it, Psalms 5?
So if I go ahead real quick. Like, just imagine.
Yeah, black becoming. Give me that scripture.
Just imagine, how much different our communities would be if we even just started following this right here alone. You understand? Not desiring, unprofitable children. You understand? Like imagine how different the generations would be if our children were drug dealers and we shunned them from not only our families but as well as the communities. You understand? If our daughters were whores, you understand, instead of lifting up a sister being a whore, you understand, you look to break that spirit on them. You understand? Let them know that they can no longer be a part of this family and the community would not take them in.
Didn't accept them, is what you're saying?
They come You understand? If a brother or sister decided they wanted to follow the LGBTQ community, then they would no longer be welcome within our communities.
Right.
Just imagine how much different things would be. You understand? And then, you want to have all this nonsense going on in the media with Tyler Perry, and his son, with Dwayne Wade and his son.
Lord.
You understand? Like none of that would be going on. But we can really thank the Christian church for the condition of our people.
Right.
Because the church hasn't taught us these scriptures right here.
Right.
The church has taught us to come against these scriptures.
Right.
So much so that you remember that the church we went to with the play?
Right.
You understand where the priests and prophets and ISUPK spent time there training up, who it is they had portraying Christ, lent him a garment, you understand, told him how to carry himself, showed him scriptures of how it is that Christ rolled because the church wasn't doing it. And guess I drove by that church today, right? Guess what I saw there? You understand? I saw them flying an LGBTQ flag. You understand? They have little banners up.
Right.
One side being Black Lives Matter, another side being a rainbow in a circle saying everybody is welcome here.
Right.
Really saying that if you've been molested and have allowed for the demons to force you into a certain lifestyle, you're welcome here.
Right.
And they're not going to make no attempts to change you or nothing like that. When really the churches should be the main ones speaking up against the LGBTQ.
Right.
You understand? Like the Christian church should have been speaking out against Tyler Perry dressing like a woman.
Right.
You understand? Like the Christian church has failed our people to such a drastic measure,
massive,
that the Lord had to bring the ISUPK into the picture so that we could fix our people, so that we could show our people these scriptures, and so that we will no longer be unprofitable in the eyes of the Lord. And if I could just finish this for you real quick. The scripture reads, neither delight in ungodly sons.
Do what? Read that again.
Neither delight in ungodly sons.
And that's one thing for you to raise a child up in the way that he should go. And somehow he still strays. But you're not even raising him up. And then let me tell you something. The only way that Tyler Perry is such a wicked beast, the only way that he's not going to accept his son is if his son actually decides to serve the Most High. Right. Then Tyler Perry would disown his son. He would disown him. But if he does everything wicked, then he's going to accept his son. You get what I'm saying? Like I told you before, the truth, I let my son know a long time ago, you do anything that's ungodly, I will disown you. Right. I will disown you. There wasn't going to be no homosexual lifestyle in my household. None of that. There wasn't going to be nothing that was short of what I expected a man to be. Even when I didn't know what a true man was. Because I didn't have a father to teach me. I had multiple fathers now in spirit. Go ahead, Shabbat.
So look, if I could, like the reason why I laugh at that is because I still find that hilarious to this day. Because of the fact of how screwed up this world is so much, is that the fact that you even had to tell me that. If this was back in the day, back in your generation when you was a kid, you wouldn't even had to tell me that. You wouldn't have to remind your son or none of that, if you turn a homosexual, you're out of this house. Like, you wouldn't have to say nothing back then. But because, like I said before, like how screwed up this generation is, how normalized it is to be a homosexual even at a young age, like you have to remind your children that. You have to set that in order immediately. Because if you don't, they're going to strain away and becoming homosexual. Whatever.
It's having standards.
No, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, work, man. You got that scripture I wanted?
Come.
Psalms 1 and 5?
Come.
Let's get it.
This is the book of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5.
Listen, this is what you should be teaching your goddamn son about race, about being black. He's so scared to teach his son about being black. Why? Because he has to, in his mind, being black, he views himself through the eyes of the oppressor. Being black, Tyler Perry to this day views his son being black through the eyes of the white man. And he's afraid for it. He fears it. He doesn't understand it. He shuns it. He will, if he could, he'd go bleach his son's skin.
Right.
If he could, he'd make his son full-blooded African.
Right.
I bet you Tyler Perry hates the fact that he has nigga blood in him.
Right.
I bet you he does. I know he does. I know he hates the Most High. His lifestyle proves it.
Right.
He loves everybody but Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian.
Right.
He even hates his own goddamn son because his son's a nigga.
Right.
But this is what he should be teaching his son about race. This is what you should teach us. This is what every Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian should teach their son about being Black. Go ahead.
This is the book of Solomon. This is the book, Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5.
Go ahead.
I am black.
You should tell his son, listen, you Black. Go ahead.
I am black, but comely.
But who?
But comely.
What is comely? Comely is beautiful.
Right.
This is what you should teach his son. He don't want to have a race talk with his son because he's afraid his son is going to what? He's afraid his son is going to what? This is what he should teach his goddamn son. Read that part again.
Verse 5. I am black, but comely.
I am black, but beautiful. I am black, but beautiful. This is Solomon saying this.
Right.
Solomon said, listen, I am black, but comely. I am black, but beautiful, man.
Right.
Listen, I'm the best looking mother. Shut your mouth on the face of this planet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what Solomon said. Why come you can't teach your son that, Mr. Perry? Medea Perry? Perry Medea? Why come you can't teach your son that? Teach him that be black and proud. You listen to James Brown back in the day, say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud.
Right.
Why come you can't teach him that? Go ahead, Sugar.
It's lucky. Once again, like Officer Matarazzi said, I blame the Christian church for that, man.
Absolutely.
Like the Christian pastor and them will tell you, like, you ain't above the white man. You should be putting yourself on the same pedestal as him or below him. But the white man is the one who runs this country.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. We are superior to the oppressor in every single way.
Absolutely.
Manner, physical, any way possible. You can look at it no matter.
Smarter.
So like
bigger, stronger, faster, smarter.
That's what I was just about to say. I'm like, you can look at it any platform, whether it's the sport industry, whether it's the science platforms, wherever we go, we are dominating every other nation. You understand? That's why we should hold ourselves to a higher standard. Right. That's why we shouldn't be trying to, bring ourselves down to the oppressor.
Right.
That's all I can say.
Let me get Acts 13:1. Why aren't you teaching your son about race, Mr. Perry? Hey, listen, you was at T.D. Jakes' church putting hands on him, making everybody fall out. Mm-hmm. I understand, listen, you didn't have that power when COVID was out to heal people and do that, but you got it now. Do it with your son. How about that? He was out there teaching a good sermon at T.D. Jakes' church. You understand? So you know the Bible, right? Teach your son this about his race. Teach your son this about his race. Let me get it.
Oh, God. This is the book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 1.
Go ahead.
Now, there were in the church that was at Antioch.
Listen, where was that church at again?
Antioch.
Where is Antioch at this time period of time? It was in Asia. We were everywhere. Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, woman, and child. This is according to the oppressor status, right?
Right.
7 churches was in Asia. Because we populated the whole goddamn world. Point blank period. You get what I'm saying? So this is at a church in Asia. Keep going. Black people in Asia? Sounds weird. Right. Keep going.
In the church that was at Antioch.
Keep going.
Certain prophets and teachers.
Certain who and what?
Certain prophets and teachers.
Certain prophets and teachers. Keep going.
As Barnabas and Simeon.
Give you the names. Barnabas and Simeon. A bunch of prophets and teachers like Barnabas and Simeon. Keep going.
That was called Niger.
That were called what?
Niger.
Listen, I'm going to give it to you quick and simple. Niger is a derivative, right? It's Latin for the word nigga. If nigga is word, Niger is the root word of nigger.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what we took and made it Ebonics and called nigga.
Right.
It's Black, Hispanics, Native Indians. But you know where it stems from. It stems from the root word, the Latin word for black, which was a derogatory term put for blacks, Hispanics, and Indians. But in biblical terms, this is the book of Acts. They called the teachers niggers.
Right.
He said these teachers are black. There's a bunch of teachers running around here like Barnabas and Simeon, and all of them are black. And then Solomon said that he's black and beautiful. It only stands to reason, so is Simeon and Barnabas, right?
Right.
Shouldn't they be black and beautiful as well? Not only black and beautiful, but black and educated. These are prophets. These are the teachers of the Lord and teachers of all type of things, science, psychology, biology. You know what I'm saying? When you name it, they taught it.
Right.
Why aren't you teaching your son about that? That's a part of being black. That is a part of being black. To be educated is to be a nigga. We were the ones with the first knowledge. Let me get Revelations. You know what I'm on. Cut it down, little girl.
Come.
Revelations. You know what I'm on. Start at 14. Read it when you got it.
Come.
Go ahead.
I ain't got it yet. I'm getting to it.
Most high Christ. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man, don't be a Tyler Perry. Don't be a Medea. Teach your kids from the second that they are born who the hell they are. Teach them about race. Teach them about who they are. Go ahead.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 14.
Go ahead.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
What nation of people has woolly hair? Keep going.
As white as snow.
Keep going.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Keep going.
And his feet were like unto fine brass.
His feet were like brass. What nation of people have brass skin? Keep going.
As if they were burned in the furnace.
Not only were they brass, but they looked like they were burned in a furnace. So not only was Christ, because this is talking about Christ, not only was he black, but he was super goddamn black. He looked like Wesley Snipes. He was Passenger 57. You understand?
Right.
He was a black, dark-skinned brother with white, woolly hair and eyes red.
Right.
Not blonde hair, blue eyes, but woolly, white hair, red eyes.
Right.
With dark skin, not pale skin, not pale, non-melanated skin,
right?
But dark skin. Why aren't you teaching your kids about this, Tyler Perry?
Right.
To be black ain't bad. To be black is the most beautiful thing on the face of this planet. If you share black, Hispanic, and Native Indian blood, because let me tell you something. Whether you Native Indian, whether you Hispanic, or whether you were so-called Negro, you are the Lord's chosen. Right. And we expect them more beautiful than that, man. That is a glorious thing.
Right.
That is a beautiful thing. That is a special thing. And if you ain't teaching them about that, Tyler Perry, what are you teaching them about? Here's what you should be teaching. Is that you want to bring up?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to add on to what you were saying. Like this is something that we always do bring out, like whenever we talk, whether it's in camp class, whether it's just amongst us. We always let people know this. Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians didn't choose to be the children of Israel. But we wouldn't have it any other way.
That's right.
We wouldn't change a thing. That's all I have to say.
That's right. Let's get to either one of them other articles that I sent you.
Can I pull them up on here?
Yeah, pull them up.
Actually, because I don't think you sent me another article. I think you sent me a vid.
No, I'm talking about pull them up on the screen.
Yeah. I think it might be a video of one of them.
No, this is an actual article.
Okay, yeah, it's an article and it's a video. My fault.
Yep.
That's what I was worrying about. But I'm going to pull it up on
Pull
here.
up the article, if you would. So, Tyler Perry, you don't want to teach your son about race. You don't want to teach him about the harsh realities of the world. So let me ask you something. If you teach him about good touch, bad touch, who do you teach him his enemies are? I'm asking. Who do you teach him to be cautious of?
Right.
Are you teaching them to be cautious of black people? You can't trust these niggas.
Right.
Don't trust these niggas. Go ahead.
So, like, if I could, to further push on to that, he's not teaching his son. I know this is kind of the same song and dance, but he's not teaching his son to be aware of the LGBTQ community.
Right.
Because, like the Christian church will tell you, they'll tell you all the, the benefits and, all the happy love and joy that's going on in the LGBTQ community. But he won't tell you down to nitty gritty and the grossness and the disgusting diseases that they pass around. He won't tell you the drawback and the wickedness that comes along with you being a
He
homosexual.
won't tell you about all the child molestation that happens in that community.
Right.
He won't tell you about all the child kitty pornography that happens in that community.
Right.
He won't tell none of that. He ain't gonna speak about that, but he gonna let him know it's his body, his choice, like a female.
Right.
Let's get that article. This is, if you don't want to teach your child about race, Tyler Perry, this is what's gonna happen.
You want to play this video in the article?
Yeah, let's get the video.
I got nothing to eat.
Yeah, right.
You can say more difficulties.
Hold on, I can do something.
Turning nothing. Listen to that, just playing. Turning nothing. That's right. They ain't paying us for this. All right, yeah, that's right.
When it has
come on. I might go ahead and get it up.
Vigilant for potential copycat attacks following the Buffalo supermarket shooting in May.
Make sure that
Some
the
U.S.
people online
government
can
is
hear.
warning law enforcement to remain vigilant for potential copycat attacks following the Buffalo supermarket shooting in May.
Stop. Now, in case you didn't know, Mr. Tyler Perry, the Buffalo shooting attack, right? Or we just call it what it really is, a domestic terrorism attack on black people, right? And when I say black, of course I mean black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. But to dumb it down for the audience, this was a domestic terrorist attack on strictly black people, right? The same thing that you don't want to teach your son about, he's going to be a victim of this if you don't teach him. Go ahead.
So lucky, sir. This is a hate crime.
Yeah, listen.
This was a hate crime on black, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
Yeah,
you ain't gonna teach your son about that, Mr. Tyler Perry? Miss Medea? You ain't gonna teach your son about that? Mr. Medea?
It's male!
Right? Mr. Medea? You ain't gonna teach your son about hate crimes that are going on against black, Hispanics, and Native Indians?
For you not to teach your son about race, you put your son at a disadvantage.
Right.
Your son is going to be a victim.
Right.
You know what happened to these people in this store? They were never taught about race.
Right.
They were taught that the white man ain't never done nothing to nobody, little girl. Hey. They were taught that the white man ain't never did nothing to nobody, and they paid with their lives because of it.
Right.
This is what you need to be teaching your son. I'm gonna break it down real quick. The Buffalo shooting attack was a domestic terrorist hate crime committed just strictly against black people by the white people, by a white man.
Go ahead. It's a luck if I could, real quick. Like to further touch on, the whole Buffalo shooting incident. This was a 19-year-old devil. Keep in mind, this wasn't one of them seasoned ones. This wasn't one of them seasoned racists. This is one of the younger ones. This is somebody who was taught at a young age to hate black people, and he came out there and did what his father taught him.
Listen, he was taught at 7 years old how to hate niggas.
Right.
Let's get some more.
Come on.
Left 10 people dead. The FBI and Department of Homeland Security assessed hundreds of pages of online posts from the accused Buffalo gunman. They say the suspect had invited others to view these posts minutes before the deadly attack. Authorities believe that he intended them to serve as a, quote, manual for future attackers.
Stop. So not only did this white boy run in there and specifically kill black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, but he left a blueprint on how to kill specifically black people.
Right.
Listen, I always say black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, but once more, when I say black, it's all of us. All black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, because if you black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, we all share the same blood. We all share the same blood. We all got that nigga blood in us.
Right.
They call the guys savage niggas. Right. Because the Mexicans wetback niggas. And they called us black niggas.
You're just a plain nigga.
We were black niggas.
Right.
What do they call porch monkey?
Porch monkey, an obsidian orangutan, a cool cricket.
Right.
Obsidian orangutan.
That's what they call it.
Instead of dirt demon.
The dirt demon.
All right.
That's
That's who I got it from. The black man.
Right?
That's what he was calling.
And this is what Tyler Perry trying to protect his son from. So instead of when he hears it, he laughs at it like we do, he's gonna bust out crying. Right. It hurt me so much so. Oh, where's my dress? You get what I'm saying? But this devil left a manifesto on how to kill Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians.
Right.
You understand niggas. He left a manifesto on how to kill niggas. Why don't you want to teach your son about this, Tyler Perry? How to protect himself? Because let me tell you something. Every nation out here on the face of this planet is teaching their goddamn kids at a young age how to profile Black kids.
Right.
It's proven. You remember the Dow test, Mr. Perry? Does anybody remember the Dow test that I'm talking about? The Dow test.
Oh, yeah.
The Dow test was this. They had little kids, right? That's how the little kids were.
3 years old.
Them little kids was like 4 years old and up. 4 years old and up, right? Little kids. And they had a white doll and a black doll. And they asked these questions. They said, what doll is the smart doll? What doll did everybody point at? They pointed at the white one. Then they said, what doll is the dumb doll? Everybody pointed at the black one.
Right.
They said, which one is the good one? Everyone pointed at the white one. Which one is the bad one? Everyone pointed at the black one. Get where I'm going with this. They said, which one? They said, which one is the nice one? Which one is the mean one? Which one is the smart one? Which one is the dumb one? You get what I'm saying? Like, which one is, they even did it with odor. So which one is the one that's going to steal? Everyone pointed at the black one.
All right.
But and once more, listen. These are 4-year-olds of all ethnicity, right? They had white kids. They had Chinese kids, right? They had African kids. They had every nationality of kids out there. And everybody, everything that was a negative connotation that had to do with everything that was a negative connotation was directed towards the black kids. So it doesn't matter if you don't want to teach your kid Tyler Perry, the Lord is going to teach him for you. Because even when you send them to that private school with the millions upon millions of dollars that you got, because when you send them to that private school, guess what other nationality of kids is going to be there? It's going to be the white kids. And even though you're not teaching your child about race, you better believe that these white people are teaching their child about race. There's a reason why you never see any of the old KKK stuff. No one's ever showed the KKK stuff being burned. You've never seen it sold at an auction. You've never seen it in a flea market. You've never seen none of that stuff. You know why? Because it's family heirlooms passed down from generation to generation. And your son is going to find out the hard way because you're such a goddamn coward and you love the white man so much that you decide to try to take your son's nationality away from him to pretend that he's not a nigga. Your son's a nigga, Mr. Perry, Medea, ma'am, sir, whatever the hell you want to call.
Right.
Your son's a goddamn nigga, whether you like it or not, know it or not, understand it or not. You're going to kill your son by not teaching him who the hell he is, according to what the Bible said. Raise up a child in the way that they're supposed to go, and when they get older, they will never depart from it. You're not teaching your child about racism. I mean, the goddamn thing to the white man, because whether you teach him or not, he's still going to die.
Right.
By the hands of the white man, who has taught racism to this bloodline for 400 years. Plus, let's get a little bit more on the article, and then we're going to shut it down. Okay.
CBS News Homeland Security and Justice reporter Nicole Skanga has been following this story for us, and she joins me now on the phone. Nicole, can you sort of go a little bit further into the scope of what was included in this document?
Anne-Marie, good to be with you. And as you noted, DHS, FBI, and the National Counterterrorism Center here assessing that a 180-page manifesto and a 672-page online diary written by the alleged gunman in the...
Stop right there. Did you just hear what these bitches just said? Alleged. Whenever they're talking about a crime,
you rewind it a little bit, sir?
no, you ain't even got to. I want you to move on to the next article. Because I want to fly through this real quick.
Come on.
They said alleged.
Right.
So he didn't kill people? It wasn't him, even though they took him alive? Go ahead.
I say it's crazy to even say that. Because like literally not even a minute before this, they literally showed all of the you know how when you go to a funeral, they show the pictures of the people that passed away? They had a line full of black people. Just a huge line of pictures.
Listen, this mother... Caught myself. This goddamn devil went Facebook Live. Let me tell you something. My dad can't go Facebook Live on my account unless I give him that information.
Right.
This devil went Facebook Live and had all type of video footage and just said that he already set it up to tell people to view in later for what he was about to do.
Right.
Nobody said, let me call the police to prevent this from happening.
Right.
Nobody did anything to prevent this from happening, even though they had all the goddamn evidence knowing it was about to happen. He went Facebook Live. They called him red-handed. Right. Should I say, literally red-handed, blood on his hands. Yeah. They still had the nerve to say allegedly. The alleged gunman. Like they don't know if it was really him or not. Go ahead.
And so, Lucky, I'm going to deviate a little bit off because I remember talking to Gloria about this. But I also want to add this into what, the whole Tyler Perry situation. This is what Tyler Perry is, hiding his son from. Right. This is what he's shooting his son from. Right.
This is what he's going to make his son a victim of.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. And the point that I was going to get to is that I remember talking to Gloria about this. So she had randomly brought up to me that she had a young sister and then going missing. And they ended up finding out, I think, like 3 months later, they found her body and stuff. Right. And I asked Gloria this, which I knew she couldn't give me an answer for, but it was kind of a rhetorical answer. A rhetorical question, rather. But the thing is this. Here in the age of 2022, we, got cars, all these different technology, mobile devices, and all this extra stuff.
Right. Semi-trucks, everything.
Yeah, here you are able to track down anybody you can at a moment's notice. You can go on Snapchat right now and find somebody's location. I know where you live. I know what time you get home. I know your address. I know everything about you now. But here in the age of 2022, we don't have the... I ain't gonna say we. Dealing, like I said, this way Tyler Perry trying to hide his son from. Dealing with the oppressor and his police department, when it comes to stuff like this, they can flip it around however they want. Like you said, he allegedly, and like you said, like how are you gonna log into somebody else's account with, without the information? My fault, I'm deviating again. The point I'm trying to make here is that, like here in the age of the internet, everything should be at a finger's touch. They should have had every single bit of information they needed off of this devil. There shouldn't have been no loopholes. There shouldn't have been no assumptions. There shouldn't have been no maybes. There should have been 100% certainty.
This devil had been planning this attack for weeks, leaving a manifesto on Facebook and every other goddamn social media outlet. Right. I can right now make a manifesto, plan a mass shooting for a week out, talking about that I'm going to go to, give me a place where white people go.
Right.
Starbucks. Right. That I'm going to go shoot up a Starbucks, right? I can make a manifesto and plan it for a week out. I'm going to go to Starbucks on whatever random day that I know it's a bunch of white people there. Make sure you tune into my Facebook Live because I'm going to go and do this. And they wouldn't say an alleged nothing.
Right.
They would get me before I even did it.
Right.
Right? They would be at my door tomorrow. They would be at the door tomorrow. They wouldn't knock and say it's the police, we need to talk to you. They're going to kick it in. They'd probably kill me. I doubt if
there is no problem.
Because, they might take me alive just to try to make a zombie pony show out of me. I doubt it. I doubt it. They're probably going to kill me. Right. And then they're not going to say alleged nothing. They're going to say we prevented a terrorist attack. Right. And then they say we prevented an alleged terrorist attack. We prevented a terrorist attack. Here's the proof. Here's the Facebook social media. Here's what he said he was going to do. But not only did this devil tell you what he was going to do, he did it. And then he still had the nerve to say alleged. This is the power of white privilege. And this is what you're trying to protect your son from, Mr. Perry.
Right.
Ma'am, sir, whatever you want to be called.
Right.
This is, you're trying to protect your son from this. You want your son to be a part of this. You don't want your son to understand that if he's at the wrong place at the wrong time, but there's a white boy that feels some kind of way because he woke up on a Monday.
Because he's having a bad day.
He's having a bad day, and he can get his goddamn head blew off. You don't want to teach your son that.
Right.
You don't want to teach your son to have perceptive awareness of his surroundings and know who the hell his goddamn enemy is.
Right.
You understand? I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. It warmed my heart to see soldiers actually implementing this. I put this out a while back in this city. So this happened after the goddamn Buffalo shooting. I put out a precaution for our soldiers. When you go to the grocery store, don't just pull up and park and hop out. Circle the parking lot.
Right.
Look for anything out of place. I was around with Cool Part the other day. You already know we do this every time we go to the store.
Yeah.
Circle the parking lot 2 or 3 times. Just look. That's just what I do. I can't help it. Because the second you feel comfortable around white people is the second you die.
Right.
I was riding the Cool Part to the store. Right? I was the Cool Part. And he did it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's circling the parking lot. I'm just riding. He's like, yeah, circle the parking lot, make sure nothing's out of place. Watch every and anybody. Nothing right. It made me so proud. It did. It made me proud because I know that he's taking his life and the procedures that we need to take seriously in this place.
Right.
He's understanding how to protect himself. Don't feel comfortable around white people. Use a nigga out here. There might be a devil right now. They just said he left a manifesto for other white people to follow. That's what they just said about that Buffalo shooter. He left it online. Everybody took screenshots and trying to mimic it.
Right.
Protect yourself, black man. That's what you want to teach your son how to do. Ma'am Perry, go ahead.
Oh, so the point that I wanted to add on was what you were saying earlier about them talking about he allegedly did this X, Y, and Z, and like how you was making the comparison earlier. Like, say if you would have pulled up on a congregation of where what people congregate at Starbucks or whatever, they wouldn't have been no allegedly. This was a terrorist attack on the white community.
They probably, absolutely. They probably would have had snipers waiting on me to pull up.
Yeah.
They're going to nigga right there. He's identified. Snipers, get ready. Don't like you.
Yeah. But the point that I wanted to make with this is that when it comes to Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians, there is never anything confirmed as a hate crime. Like I'll give you an example. 9/11. Every single devil on the face of this planet knows exactly what that is.
Right.
You understand? And they will never ever let that go. Every single, September's coming up right now.
They never forget.
September's coming up next month. I'm pretty sure that as soon as September hits and everything, 9/11 comes back around, they're going to mourn for the people that died on that day. They're going to remember it.
Now me, I have a feast on that day.
Oh yeah.
They barbecue every time. 9/11. It's barbecue.
That's why I said white. That's why I said the oppressor.
It's not they might mourn for him. I don't know about y'all, but when I was in school, we had like a 30-minute moment of silence.
So I said white.
I
did not mean to say Mike. They are going to mourn for them, like they usually do. So I don't know why I said Mike.
Because I remember that in school. You know what I'm saying? I remember that when I was going to college.
Right.
Like they make sure on the day they play the goddamn videos they had that shit on the loop just. Right. Like they wanted it burned into your cerebellum.
Right.
And never forget and be angry.
Right.
Be angry about it. Go ahead.
But the point that I wanted to make with this, man, is that not even with the Buffalo incident. What about Black Wall Street? Why does nobody mourn for that?
Tyler Perry don't want to teach us about that.
Right.
No,
Everybody wants to talk about 9/11, but nobody ever talks about Black Wall Street. Nobody talks about how many Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians were robbed, raped, pillaged, and murdered all throughout history. What about the genocide of the Native Indians?
Wall Street, but all the goddamn cities. Remember I was saying that? Was that at Kent? What I was saying?
It was probably at Kent.
Man, nobody gives a damn about the Trail of Tears.
Right.
Nobody gives a damn about the Trail of Tears. You want me to cry for America, you want me to cry for all these other people, but nobody gives a damn about the Trail of Tears. Tyler Perry, Ain't that important? Right. You celebrate Thanksgiving, don't you, Mr. Curry? What about the Native Indians? You don't want to teach your son about that either, huh? But you teach him about Thanksgiving. He was a goddamn coward. Right. So lucky, man. I know we went way over. Go ahead and finish up your point.
That's all I have to say right there, man. Like I said, everybody else gets the mourning except blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. It's always an assumption. It's always, why are you crying about X, Y, Z? Why? I forget what this one devil had said to me. Dang, I'm offended. I can't remember it now. But I remember one time I was, bringing up the same situation like I just brought up, Black Wall Street, the genocide of the Gary brothers and sisters, and like you said, the Trail of Tears and all these different events. These are hate crimes. These aren't just random events. These are hate crimes. They hate us.
Committed by one race to another.
Right.
That you don't want to teach your goddamn son about, ma'am.
I remember what he said. He said, forget about it. That's exactly what he told me. But then I legitimately asked him this: why don't you people forget about 9/11? Like nobody ever questions that. Nobody questions that, but you want to question what black people do.
That's because black man is Native Indian man. You have been destroyed in this place to be a goddamn weak Christian like Tyler Perry, the gentleman, sir, now.
Right.
He doesn't want to teach his son about what it is to be black, the suffering of black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. We had another article we want to pull up, but it's late. We ain't gonna be able to get to it. But at the end of the day, man, you gotta prepare your children for what's going on, man. Prepare your kids to teach your kids who the goddamn enemy is. Go ahead, Shania.
So, like, real quick before we go into class, man, I just want to go and let Israel know that when it comes to these celebrities, man, these are not the leaders you're supposed to be looking to.
Yeah, right.
These are definitely not the leaders you're supposed to be looking forward to. When it comes to, all these comedians, all these actors, like I said, Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, all these different named actors, these are not your leaders. They don't care about black people. They don't. Because if they did, they'd tell you how to govern your nation, which they have had the chance multiple times, again and again and again, and they got it wrong. Man, turn towards the ISUPK. Turn to the Most High and see where that gets you. I'm going to go ahead and give you a spoiler alert. It's nothing but good things coming down this way.
Damn right.
That's what I say.
The Lord said this: you serve me, I'll make your enemies my enemies.
Right.
Tyler Perry don't serve the Lord. So what he's going to do is he's going to get destroyed by the same people that he's trading on the Lord for.
Right.
You don't want to teach his son, don't sweat the white man to teach him.
All right.
That's what they've been doing. We're the only nation that get taught by the people who conquered us.
Right.
Only nation. And let me tell you something, Mr. Perry, you don't have to have that conversation. When you send that white boy, when you send them to that private school, the white boys is going to have that conversation.
Right.
They're going to be putting them in lockers and all of that. They're going to torture him because no matter how much money you got, Mr. Tyler Perry, he's still just a nigga.
Right.
It's lucky. You can just look at Chris Rock to know that that's true.
Right.
And he talked about how it is that he was bullied, basically every day, and they lightweight molested the brother. You understand? At his all-white school.
Right.
So that's the kind of trauma it is that you're about to really walk your child into. Following celebrities like Tyler Perry, following celebrities like Dwayne Wade. You know what I'm saying? And any other brother or sister who promotes the philosophy of just being open-minded and accepting everything.
Accepting white supremacy.
Right.
Right. That's what it boils down to, accepting white supremacy.
Is it?
Listen, death is what waits around the corner if you don't raise up a child in the way they should go.
Right.
If I don't teach my son to look out for lions, how the hell is he going to know the lions are dangerous?
Right.
I don't teach my son not to swim in the river with crocodiles, how is he going to know that crocodiles ain't going to rip him apart?
Right. It's like just to add on, not only is he going to, not only is he not going to know the danger it is that they impose, but how is it that he's going to know the signs of when one is lurking?
Right.
Looking to prey on him and take advantage of him.
Right.
Right. Yeah, right. No, that's it, man. With that being said, man, we about to end the class, man. I appreciate y'all for locking it out with us. With that being said, I'm going to pass the class over to Police Officer Shania. And just read the Lord's Prayer. Let's go.
Suck it, other one. You know what a bender is?
Nope, but I got mine. Here.
Can you use it real quick? Oh, never mind, it's over here.
You the worst.
Oh, it's in the chair. I didn't see it over here. What's in here?
Where is it?
Right. ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, starting out at 1 West 125th Street, Home, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves to the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. After this 6 month period, there's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is commandments, Numbers 18 and 21. Malachi 3, 8 to 10 in the Hebrew. Means 10th in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives to the treasury department. Or teacher, priest funds. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. Let's look at one. We got a holy day coming up, don't we?
Yeah, what's it?
Come.
It's September 25th. I know that.
So we got a high holy day coming up on September 25th.
The memorial blowing of the trumpets.
It's gonna be the memorial blowing of the trumpet.
Let them know where it comes to. Let them know where it comes to.
It's gonna be hosted at 3532 North Keystone Avenue.
7 to 9 p.m.
From 7 to 9 p.m. You understand? We're gonna be having plenty of food, plenty of brotherhood and sisterhood.
Right.
You know, even if you ain't got nothing, man, come swing through, man.
Right.
It'd definitely be greatly appreciated if you are Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, man.
Right.
If anyone's remind Akim and Akawat to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be in the troop in the school to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headbands, or scarves. And with that being said, Amajim, which means to rise.
Yeah, just do the one over.
Or Panya Hakidam, which means to turn and face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanaw. Shabbat Shemayim.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Wadash. Ayah.
Ayah.
Shimka. Yahweh.
Malakuka.
Tabah. Ratazayaka. Ayah. Aisha. Baratazah. Kawar. Ayah. Bashamayim. Lenawa. Lekam. Lekol. Yavam. Wasalakinawa. Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us of our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it. Sorry, which means the term. You want to give a curse to the teacher?
Wow.
You want to give a curse to the brothers? Men of Israel, Mike Shabbat, Imagine, Barak. Ajamatar. You want to give a curse to the sisters? Men of Israel, Mike Shabbat, Imagine, Barak.